Guys, my name is Nick and welcome back to the channel, and in this very special extended opening to the video we are getting on with the Warlord Titan finally. Now I've had this in my possession for some time. In fact, the weekend it actually came out is when I purchased it, although I had to pre-order it because they only had sort of 10 available on the day. They all got snapped up because people were queuing from 5 o'clock in the morning to get their hands on one. And I'm not an early morning person, so I didn't, so I pre-ordered, and my Warlord is number 27. Now that's a pretty early release of the model. The last certificate that I saw on a Titan owners group last week was number 718, so there have been plenty sold between me even bothering to put this thing together and where people are currently buying them at. So yeah, I've been a bit slack. I've been a bit scared. I've been a bit overwhelmed by trying to do this build and do this model. Now, if you didn't catch my last video, I did kind of explain that I have kind of started the Warlord. So this video isn't me unboxing from today. This is going to have some old footage I recorded back from when I got it, and I was eager to get inside the box, see what was going on, clean up some of the parts, you know, lay them all out, make sure they're all there, that kind of stuff. So some of this is old footage, and I apologise for that in advance. Shot on a GoPro, bit of a fisheye lens thing going on. Not shot in my little hobby den at the moment. It was actually shot downstairs in my dining room. That's the only place big enough to actually put the damn thing. So you'll see from that footage what's included. So it will go through a full unbox. I'm going to re-record and voice over the audio because the audio on the original footage is terrible. And that's what we're going to do. So this video will be the unboxing video, and then this will be one of many in a Warlord series as we go from where I managed to get to several years ago to hopefully finishing the model completely this year. It was one of my main goals of the year. I did say I was going to start it when I hit 500 subscribers. That's happened. I'm completely out of excuses. So let's get on with it. So here we go then. Here are the boxes that come from FORGEWORLD when you buy the Warlord Titan. It's two huge bloody boxes. They weigh loads, as you'd expect, because they are rammed full of resin. So this is exactly what you get. So I had these delivered to work so that I could load them into the car and we could get it home. So this is going to be a bit of a weird one because I'm re-recording the audio. So I've managed to detach the audio from the original recording, and now I'm doing my own voiceover again. So watching this over a couple of times brought back a few memories here, so bear with me. So the first thing we're going to do is open the smaller of the two boxes. It's about a third of the size of the other box. So the scale of those photos I just showed is a little bit out of kilter, but this box was slightly smaller. Now, when I recorded this, I did think that putting down that tablecloth was going to be a good idea, but all it does is get ruffled up and get in the way. But case or as I said, this was recorded a long time ago. Just on the rare chance that I may decide to go to YouTube, and several years later that's happened, so here we are. So once the tape's off, we've got 10 ton of bubble wrap, and then inside were individually boxed components. Now this was the first kit that FORGEWORLD adopted their new packaging with. So usually you just got a massive big bag of resin, right, with a smaller bag with the smaller parts inside. No boxes, no nothing like that. Unless it was shipped to you, obviously it was in a cardboard box, but you get that big baggie. This was the first kit to adopt not only the new packaging, but also the new instruction manual, which we'll get to a bit later on in the series. So you can see some of these larger parts, that's the Bellicosa cannons there. Now that box is about the size of a current night box, or even a get started box. It's pretty big. So we just keep going through here and unravelling layers and layers of bubble wrap and pulling out more and more of the boxes. Third box is exactly the same as the second. This is the second Bellicosa volcano cannon. That's how big the guns are, right? These things come in boxes the size of entire armies. The final box is the Titan laser blaster. So these are the pair of guns that go on the carapace on the top of the Titan. And that is the last box that came in that first box. It's basically all the weapon options and the variant head. So that first box was the standard head that came out on release, and then the two arm weapons and then the shoulder mounted weapons. So we can now move on to the second box. Now inside the second box we have two smaller boxes, and these are presented in very, very pretty Titan Warlord boxes. You get two large red boxes, and inside there are a whole bunch of parts that form the actual Titan, so his legs and his torso and all that kind of stuff, and all the armor plating and everything like that. So these two boxes are the main parts of the. When you buy the Warlord body only, these are the two boxes that you'll get supplied. So before we take a detailed look inside these boxes, what I'm going to do is open up the weapons first. This will give us a really good idea of scale, how it's all going to, you know, just the ginormity of the project really. So we're going to start with the head. So this comes in this little white box, but inside the box is the old traditional Forge World bag that you normally get, but it just means that it's just been a little bit more thought out. It's nice boxing. I guess from a logistics kind of thing, it's probably easier to store and package and stack within a shop. Maybe that's the reason they've gone to those boxes, but who knows. Either way, inside the box, inside all the bubble wrap is the head, and then we get this brand new type of instruction manual. Now this instruction manual, as with the boxing, this new CGI created, laser computer generated instruction manual finally replaced those really bad photocopies. I was really shocked that this was actually in this particular kit. I was expecting bad photocopied instructions, even though you sink an awful lot of cash into a kit like this. So when this first, when I first opened this and saw these instructions, I was very happy with that. There's a full resin guide, full component guide, and a full build guide for each of the sections. So as you can see there, really clear instructions. And future kits, since they've been reboxed and repackaged by Forge World, have all adopted this kind of stuff. But if you buy some of the older kits still, I think some of the Greater Demons, which are really old models now, still haven't been repackaged or re-instruction manualed. But I'm assuming they're sort of getting around to it as they go through and refresh the range. But there we go. That's the instruction manual and the packaging there. So let's take a look at one of these Bellicosa volcano cannons. Now this was the first weapon, arm weapon available for the Warhound. There's all the other options. I think most of the other options are available now. But as you can see, just for scale, I'm putting on a Librarian Terminator and a Dreadnought on the box, just so you can see how big the actual box is itself, because this camera angle is a bit squiffy, as I said, with the fisheye lens, but just to give you some element of idea there. Now once again, inside here you get the instruction manual, so you can see this particular build can go left or right-handed. I've got two of them, so I need to make sure that I build one left and one righty. And as you can see, the same blown out instruction manual again, and all the components in exactly the right order you need to build in. Now bear in mind, I did thoroughly look at the instructions and the kit after I've done this video, obviously. And you really need to be careful if you're looking to magnetize and make the weapons interchangeable. Really consider how you put this kit together, because some of the parts you're going to need to reuse, so you need to consider where the magnets go, where the pinning's going to go, and so on. But we'll get to that in detail when it comes to the full build, and we show exactly how I'm going to work that out. But as you can see, just putting all these parts out here, so you get a little bag of the smaller components with all the cabling in, and then you get the big pieces, really massive pieces of resin, huge armor plates that go around the outside, massive gates obviously from the injection mold, but you can get an idea of the size of this this gun here. There we go, just put that Terminator up for scale there. Yeah, it's huge, and it's expected to be huge, really. Let's be honest, it's a city killing weapon of the 41st millennium, so yeah, it's like just the barrel is sort of 3 dreadnoughts big, really. It's disgustingly large, and that's exactly, as I was saying, exactly what you expect, right? It's the biggest, the most powerful gun in the game from a background perspective. I don't know whether it is from the rules perspective right now, but it certainly is from the background perspective. So as I said, you get 2 of those in this particular build, but we also get the laser destroyers, which are the turret mounted weapons. Now there's a couple of options here. You can either take these laser destroyers like this, so the triple barreled turbo lasers of death, or you can get sort of the missile launchers as well. So there's a couple of options that you can put in those carapaces. But again, exactly the same, really cool instruction manual, very clear. you can see exactly how this is going to go together, and you just rinse and repeat that twice. Now the carapace weapons do come in pairs, you can't mix and match these, so this one particular box will contain both of those, and if you're going for the missile launchers, it will contain 2 sets of missile launchers. So let's take a look inside. Okay, so let's take a brief look at these turret or carapace mounted laser blasters then. So as I said, they're a pair in the box, and you can see here pretty much through that plastic actually that you can see there's pretty much duplicates of every part. So you can see the top armor plating and the rear barrel section and the sort of energy areas there and all the barrels and so on. Now just for scale, I'm pulling up my Blood Angel Librarian Terminator just for showing how big these armor panels are. You can see that armor plate is sort of 4 or 5 times the size of a Terminator. So let's now turn our attention back to what comes in these wonderful looking boxes. So these super large, well printed Titanicus symboled boxes, and within the fabled bubble wrap we get some of these large panels. Now these are all parts of the main torso of the model. So there's some armor panels here, there's all the side boxes, there's shoulder panels, there's the base plate coming up there, and all the sections that sort of make up pretty much the entire top section. Now inside the top section is completely void. Now if you've ever done a Warhound or a Warlord Titan, you'll know that you've got all the Princeps and the Moderati and Tech Marines and so on, all attending their various computer sections and stations within the model itself. Just looking, there's the hip section there, you can see coming up there. This one contains no internal detail with regard to the top section. Now you probably could, if you really wanted to, make an internal section for this model with Tech Marines or engine sections or whatever going on inside, but FORGEWORLD decided that, you know, this doesn't want to come with it, compared to the Reaver where you have all that internal detail. Even the Warhound, you've got all the servitors, all the gun servitors, all slaved to their weapons and so on that you can paint inside, but this doesn't come with that. So under the next layer of bubble wrap then we have more armor plates. Now these are all parts of the shoulder sections coming out here. Yep, it's just and there's some shin guards I think that are coming out at the top of there. And again, just for scale, we pull out the Blood Angel Dreadnought from the from my collection there, and just looking at the size of each of these armor panels, you know how big a Dreadnought is. I mean, they're not the biggest models in the world, but for scale, everyone knows what a Dreadnought is, which is why I tend to use it as a sort of a stock option for scaling, just to give you that idea. And you can see each of these sections is just ginormous. Now this is the large top plate. This goes right across the top of the model. There's a whole load of detail that goes on top of this, including all sort of the engine intakes, some vents and stuff at the back, as well as the void shield nodules that go on here. Now these big rounded sort of semicircle parts are the brackets for the big shoulder panels. Now my kit, these were a little bit sticky. It's almost like the resin hadn't gone off properly, but a little bit of sanding and so on, and just sort of scrape away some of that khaki resin. I perhaps should have got these replaced, to be honest, because they are a bit bad, but they are just brackets really, so they're not, you're just going to paint them up in a metallic colour and they're going to be completely covered. Now what we're doing is we can pull out there is the top thigh section, and you can see there that sort of, yeah, it's a Dreadnought plus a Librarian plus some more, just in that top thigh section. So you can see this kit is just, the scale of it is just mind-blowing, and that's why it's sat in my loft for 3 years, because it's just blown me away. So the final part of this video, this part 1 video then of the unboxing, is to take a look at all the components all laid out. Now whenever you do a FORGEWORLD kit, this is something I highly recommend to make sure that you know you've got every component, it's not all warped and completely knackered, and all the parts there match up with all the instruction sets that you've got. They do have all those exploded diagrams showing you all the components. Always make sure you've got everything you need. FORGEWORLD are very, very good on customer service and will replace any bad part. So this is something that I always do. So as you can see on the pictures, we're just going through pretty much the entire kit as laid out in that first picture, and then we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. So we're looking at all the toe sections and the sort of shin joints, or the ankle joints as it were, before we move on to the lower leg sections, and some of the armour panels and plates that go around all the knees, and there's some hip rings and so on here. There's the knee joints on the left there. Lots of different components that make up the leg sections. Then we can see here, this is the main torso with all the armour panels and all the top plates, side plates and all that kind of stuff, plus the two thigh joints and the main hip joint are in this picture. You can see that's quite a hefty selection. Then these sections here that you can see, some other bits of detail that bolt onto the side and top of the kit. So some of the more added detail, some more armour plates. There's lots of armour plates. And then again, more details here. So you can see actually we've got there's some las cannons, there's some point defence weapons that come with this. I can't remember their name now. There's some Mechanicus type bolters that go on there as well. And they overwatch on a 5+, which is all good. Mauler pattern bolt guns, I think that's what they're called anyway. And then you've got some round discs in the middle. Those are the void shield nodules that go along the top. We can move into the head section here. So you do get a standing princeps and a seated princeps plus 2 moderati that go into the head section. See, the head section's not that complicated a build, and you've got the 2 big tip shields for all the heraldry to go on. Then we've got the laser destroyers that go on the turrets there, and you can see the turret sections in the lower right hand section of this, with lots of pipe work, 2 big armour panels, and of course 6 barrels, 3 each. And then finally the Bellicosa volcano cannons. As shown when I took those out of the bags, these things are just ginormous. They need to be big, otherwise the model scale would look a bit funny with such a big torso and everything else. So yeah, they need to be able to destroy cities, and that's exactly the size of these things. If you threw one at a city, I'm sure it'd actually make a real dent. So there we go then, guys. That is the unboxing of the Warlord Titan. As I said, this is part 1 of a series. As you can imagine, this could be quite a lengthy series of the progress as we go from 0 to hero on the Warlord Titan. As you can see from some of the scale shots that I've included there against my little Terminator and my Dreadnought, this kit is just ginormous, and it's definitely one for someone with a little bit of Forge World experience, I would say, or certainly someone who knows how to look after and prepare and care for large kits. Now, it's not for everybody, especially with the price tag on it. I see a lot of people asking on forums and so on, should I buy one, shouldn't I buy one? And people are saying, well, you can get a 500 point unit of anything these days that can potentially, rip out all the wounds off it, and you've just spent, all your money and 6,000 points on one of these for a 40k 8th edition game, which would be a big game really, but realistically you're playing Apocalypse, right? So you're talking power level, but people are saying, yeah, it's no good in game and all the rest of it. Now, in all honesty, you are likely to use this once or twice, maybe a year if you're lucky. So it is definitely an expensive doorstop or an ornament, whichever way you want to look at it. But from a project perspective and a painting challenge, it is one of those way up there kind of things. For me, I'm in it for the challenge. It will get used in a game. I've got a couple of willing victims that want to try and take it on, as well as the rest of the Titan Maniple. As a narrative kind of game, we're going to set up a particular scenario that I'm hoping to record on the channel when it's done, which will be very exciting and a long way off. But for everyone else, is it for everyone? As I said, it's expensive. You're hardly ever going to get to use it. But from a painting and a modelling challenge, it is way up there. So, but there we go. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing. I hope you're going to follow along with this progress. I'm hoping to get plenty done and plenty of videos uploaded over the coming months. I do want it completed this year. So I'm down to my final 8 months to try and get this done, along with all the other projects that I've got going on as well. It will make a huge dent into my challenge of getting 10,000 points painted in a year. This will fulfill 6,000 points of that, should I succeed. But yeah, hope to see you on the channel following along in the forthcoming videos. And if you do want to follow along and you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell icon, and then you'll get notifications straight to your inbox or straight to your smart device that pops up with those notifications saying that I've uploaded a video, and then you can pick and choose, obviously, and if there's a Warlord in the title, feel free to come back and check out the progress. Until then, I shall catch you guys on the next video.